It's just before 8 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. I just finished a half marathon in just under an hour and 28 minutes. So looking good to be able to break an hour 25 in about a month at the Melbourne half marathon. It was my first run in the Saucony Endorphin Speed, and as I said on Strava, I am in love with these shoes about 10 months behind the rest of the world, behind the rest of the running world, because I'm always going to be about 8 or 10 months or 12 months behind the rest of the running world. I'll explain why back at home. But yeah, I felt super quick in them. They felt really good. But as I think it was Confucius who said, the shoes doth not make the runner maketh the shoe. Well, he didn't say that, and I'm not sure anyone's ever said that, but I'm going to go with that. G'day guys, welcome back to the Wannabe Runner. Very excited to share my week of running this week. Just before I do though, I had a look back this morning at my video from last week, and I could just see how tired I was, but feeling a bit different this week, a bit revitalized. Started off the week, I had my rest day as normal on the Monday, and just felt on Tuesday that I should just have an extra rest day, which I don't normally have 2 days off running in a row, but I just felt like I needed it. My calves needed it, but just generally for energy, I felt like I needed it as well. And it was the best thing I could have done. Really pleased I did. Wednesday morning went out for a half marathon run before school, and just felt so fresh, so good. I was running in some brand new shoes. These ones here, from a lot of the shoe reviewers that I watch. They were pretty much the shoe of the year for a lot of people's choices. So anyway, they felt really quick. I'll talk more about them and the rest of them shortly. I think my time was about 1 hour 27 and a half minutes, something like that. And I think I was thinking and aiming for the half marathon to get under about an hour and a half on race day in about a month's time. But now that I've done that in practice, setting my sights to be able to run it in under an hour and 25 minutes, which will be 4 minutes per K or better. And I didn't think I'd be able to get to that stage. Even a matter of only a few days ago, I didn't think I'd be able to do that. But now that is very much within my sights and my aim for 1 month's time at Run Melbourne. Because I did push very hard on the Wednesday morning. Thursday morning, I ran a little bit longer than I normally would, but a bit slower as well. So just cruising along. I think my pace was about 4:40 for 10 kilometers. And I'm just looking back on where I was even 6 months ago. I just love that I can say I was cruising along at 4:40 pace, because I was pushing really hard for 5Ks at about 5.5 minutes per K 12 months ago, and pushing hard at 5 minutes per K for 5Ks 6 months ago. So yeah, just it's lovely to remind myself of where I'm coming from, and yeah, feeling fit and feeling pretty fast a lot of the time. Not every day, that's for sure though. Finished school or work for the term on Friday, and went out, celebrated with my daughter by running in the rain. I did 10Ks in the rain, and Clara was riding with me on her bike the whole way. She got super soggy and muddy, but it was a nice way to finish the term. And I reached a big milestone on Saturday at soccer. I always aim to get close to about 5Ks per half, and this was the first time that I've managed to cover 10 or more kilometers in a match of soccer. It obviously helps that I played the full 90 minutes, but yeah, managed 5.2 in the first half and 4.9 in the second half. So I walked away feeling very happy that I didn't have to do any extra sprints at the end of the game, that's for sure. And my long run Sunday morning, I did 10 kilometers with my friend, and then I did another 15 on my own to make 25 for the morning. I was planning on doing another 5 later today with my girls, but we ran out of time, and really my legs didn't need another 5Ks in them. So I fell a tiny bit short of my 80 kilometer goal this week. I think I hit 77, nearly 77 kilometers for the week. So close enough. Unfortunately, a total of 0 kilometers walked for the week. Just been a bit busy at home with different things and at work, so I wasn't able to squeeze the walking in, but I've got 2 weeks of holidays now and I'm aiming to walk most days, if not all days, at least an hour a day. Now, I've been looking forward to talking about my shoes. I should just say before we dive in, no featured run this week. That was not really the plan. It just came to my final run Sunday. I'd completed the 25Ks and then I realized that I hadn't actually filmed one for the week. So no video to follow along, but check out this picture today that I got of this super cute Joey in its mama's pouch. And no doubt I would not even have noticed that. Probably the kangaroo, but definitely not the Joey if it wasn't for my friend pointing it out. First things first, you don't need a ton of different shoes. I have got a little bit addicted to buying shoes. I enjoy watching shoe reviews online, and it is true though that there are definitely shoes that accomplish different things. I always, when I bought my first pair of running shoes, I just bought some Asics Nimbus, which were very well cushioned and they provided a bit of stability for a new runner, and it was heavy as well, so they were good for me. But they're definitely not shoes that you can go super quick in. Yes, if you're a fast runner, you'd be able to run fast times in them, but there's no doubt you can run faster times in a different pair of shoes. So the shoes really are built for certain jobs. So I'm going to go over them right now. Right down the bottom of my shoe rack is the shoe that I've bought the most frequently. I've probably bought maybe 5 or 6 iterations of Gel Cumulus, Asics Gel Cumulus. And they're just a really comfy shoe. They're not built for running super quick times or anything like that, but they are just a comfy shoe and they suit me really, really well. This is the kind of shoe that I put on when I say to myself that my feet need a cuddle that day. These are really comfy, so if I'm just going out for a cruise and I feel like my legs or my feet really need a bit of relief, this is the pair that I go for. The next one I haven't run all that much in yet. This is kind of an equivalent to the one I just showed you. This is the Hoka Clifton 7. Now they've got plenty of midsole foam in there. They're meant to be for like an easy day and for long distance runs. But the only problem for me is this heel collar, or the ankle collar, or whatever this bit is called, has really been rubbing and giving me bruises. So I'm going to keep trying it out and hopefully that really loosens up a little bit. I've looked into it a little bit online. Doesn't seem to be a common problem. So for some reason it's just not working for me at the moment, but I'll keep trying to wear them in. Hopefully I'm able to break them in and they can start working for me, because they are a very popular shoe for an easy day run. Next one, the Nike Pegasus 37. Again, this is a daily trainer, but it's probably got a little bit more, I guess, pop underfoot. It has an air pod in the front or the forefoot, and you can just feel it sort of propel you forward with each of your toe-offs. It's not really built for going super quick or the very fast paces. I like the shoe, but I don't love it. I'd probably buy it again because they are really cheap. They're only, I think, about $130 full price. Speaking of price, there's nothing here that I've paid full price for. I mentioned last week that I'm always about, I don't know, 8 or 10 months behind the current shoe trends, and that's because basically I keep a list of shoes that I would like to buy and I'll wait until they're 30 to 50% off and then I'll buy them. The next one is the trail shoe, which I've spoken about before. This would be, I guess, the daily trainer equivalent in the trail shoes. Pretty funky looking, and they are really comfy. They've got heaps of foam under the foot, some good traction there too, and as I was saying a couple of weeks ago, it's got that rock plate or bit of protection under the foot so that the sharp rocks don't dig into your feet and either hurt the shoe or hurt your feet. The next one, it gets a little bit of mixed reviews online. This is the Asics Nova Blast. That's the one. It is really, really bouncy foam underfoot. It's fun to run in. It can be pretty unstable, so that's why some people don't like it. But it seems to suit my style of running fine. This is a shoe that I would wear if my legs are feeling really tired, because it's so comfy underfoot, but it also just makes you want to run fast. So if I'm going out on a day when I'm feeling a bit tired but I want to go quick at the same time, this is a shoe that I'd go for. Just above that one is the Asics Glide Ride. You can see the shape of this shoe. It really curves up at the front, and the idea of this one is a long run shoe, big thick foam under the foot, and it's got, I think they call it guide sole technology or something like that, that is meant to put all your energy into that rocking motion, so on long runs that you don't have to be doing so much with your toes. So it's meant to save a lot of energy and pain and soreness in your calves. So that's a good one. That's one I reach for if I'm going for 20 or more kilometers. Then the top three pairs are more race shoes. These are ones that I wouldn't wear on a weekly basis even. This one is the one that I've recently fallen in love with. It is the Saucony Endorphin Speed. This one has a nylon plate in the bottom. Carbon plates have become a big thing in racing shoes in the last few years, and they're expensive, but they're also meant to be really helpful for performance. So this one's a little less responsive than the carbon plate and a little bit softer underfoot, I'm told. But taking it out on Wednesday, it just felt amazing. It's a super light shoe, very fast, and it was still very comfy as well. So it is my new favorite, that is for sure. Above that is the Asics Meta Racer. This is what I wear at the moment for probably anything up to about 10-kilometer races. Certainly it's great for the 5Ks when I want to push it at a park run, or if I'm in a 5K event. That's the shoe I would go for. It also has a carbon fiber plate in it, but it's not a full plate. It's definitely fast, but it just doesn't have quite as much foam underfoot as this one, the Saucony Endorphin Speed, or certainly not the Hoka that I'll talk about in a second. So it's not good for the long distances, but it is good for going fast on those days when you're trying to set PBs. And lastly, this is the Hoka Carbon X. You can see the carbon fiber plate through the outsole there, and it has a huge stack height. So it's meant, this was I think Hoka's first attempt at a marathon race shoe. I've only taken it out for 10K so far on an athletics track, and it really wasn't, I suppose, as fast as I was hoping. It felt a bit clunky. It is a big shoe. Hoka's quite famous for having the big landing base, very stable, steady shoe. Yeah, so I didn't love it, but I'm going to give it a couple more goes just to make sure that I just wasn't feeling off on that day, because that happens. Some days are better than others. And it's really not built for 10K speed sessions, which is what I was doing when I tried it. It really is a marathon, and apparently an ultra marathon shoe, 50Ks, 50 miles, which are not distances I'm planning on running, but I just can't see myself at this stage wearing this at the Melbourne Marathon. I certainly won't be wearing it for the half marathon. I've made my mind up on that. I made my mind up on that Wednesday morning about 4Ks into my run. I'll definitely be running in this in a month's time at Run Melbourne. So that's my shoe obsession at the moment. I've got the 3 pairs of daily trainers. I've got 1 pair of trail shoes, 1 super soft but fast pair, the long run built for comfort, and then a few different styles of race shoe. Probably the half marathon to full marathon shoe, 10K, 5K, and then, well, I don't know. I just don't know about that yet. Probably one thing I feel like I'm missing at the moment, my wife definitely does not agree that I'm missing any type of shoe, but probably something for a tempo day or a threshold day, so running really quick times, but not in a plate shoe. So this would be ideal for that, except I don't want to train in plated shoes, A, because they're more expensive, but B, they're also just not quite as soft underfoot. So that is something that's probably missing from my collection. Now, if I had my time again, would I buy all of these shoes? No, I would not. The Hoka Clifton 7 for the easy days. I'd probably stick with the Asics Cumulus instead. And the Hoka Carbon X. I probably don't really need that now that I have the Saucony Endorphin Speed. But all the others, they have their place. And it is good to be able to open the cupboard and just think about how I'm feeling that day, what I'm aiming to do in terms of distance, the ground that I'm running on, and how fast I want to be going, and picking the shoe to really suit that day's work. If you've got a few different pairs of shoes that you run in, that's great. I just highly recommend adding them in Strava, which you can only do from the desktop version. You can't do it on your phone. Add the shoes in there so that after each run you just select the shoe that you ran in, and it will keep track of how many Ks you've run in the shoe. So just keep an eye on that. I sort of aim for about 500 to 600 Ks in a shoe before I then use it as my all day everyday teaching shoe. Strange the things that I think about in my spare time these days, but I was thinking if I could only have like 3 pairs of shoes, what would I go for? For me, I'd go for the Asics Cumulus for my daily trainer. Just really enjoyed these for many years, so they're just my comfort everyday shoe. For those slightly faster days, the tempo days, I would go with the Asics Nova Blast. And in terms of the really fast days and race days, I'd be going for the Saucony Endorphin Speed. But I must say, I do love having the option of more than just 3 pairs of shoes. If you know you're due for some new shoes, I really would recommend going to a proper running store and getting them to analyze your gait, like the way you run, see if you need a neutral shoe or if you need a stability shoe. They'll ask you questions about what you need the actual shoe for, the distances you run, paces you run, even the surface that you run on, and they can have some good recommendations for you there. And all of this leads me to the tip of the week. In fact, I have 2. 1, make a list of shoes that you want and wait for the price to come down. I get the urge to buy the newest thing, I understand that, but really if you're gonna own more than 2 or 3 shoes, you're better off waiting for the price to come down, because they can get very expensive very quickly. And number 2 is you really need to figure out what type of shoe you need. Do you need neutral or stability? So this goes back to going to the local running store, getting checked out, and then you can normally shop with quite a bit of confidence. Like, I know I'm a size 12 US and I know I'm a neutral shoe, so anything that is in that category in those sizes I can buy with confidence online, save myself a bit of money there, and save myself going to the shoe store every time that I want to buy a pair of shoes. So the 2 tips: buy the superseded model and be sure of the shoe that you need for your foot. And that is definitely enough talk about shoes for today. I want to thank you for watching the Wannabe Runner, and I will see you again next week.